Good morning, good evening, one and all, to my late but hopefully not too missed top 10 games of 2015. Many games didn't make it in as it was such a vast year of gaming, as you can see flashing before you, but I'm not going to dwell too long on those areas. Instead, let's jump straight into the action with number 10. The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is a game that truly mixes the beautiful with the horrific in an engrossing and cerebral concoction that will suck your time and never feel anything more than a joy to play. It tests your observation skills, trust, and brings about the same feeling as watching a great whodunit movie, except you have to work it out for yourself. The Unreal 4 engine is used to evoke the deserted countryside in striking detail and lighting, but even the previous PC release using Unreal Engine 3 still impressed. But it is the way the game plays out before you with its clever hook of solving the murders and ultimately just what happened to Ethan Carter. A genuinely different game and one that will stay with you long after you've completed it, helped by such glorious vistas, great soundtrack that helps sell the remote setting within your final case. No fedoras required. No. Number 9. The Order 1886. Now, I know some will be up in arms about this making it into my top 10. Many most likely have never played the game themselves, sadly. But with all its faults, quirks and mistakes, it still managed to create one of the most captivating, rich and rounded new IPs and characters that allowed you an easy suspension of disbelief while you took the journey of a knight into the man he would become. Even if at times it could stray too far into narrative control, it never ceased to spur you on to see how it all unravels with enough simple but well delivered twists, flashes of great combat system, a mixture of pacing, but its ironically both strongest and weakest strength being the lore building it managed sometimes at the expense of gameplay enjoyment. But if all new games had been crucified by the vague levels this game was at launch by the media at large and the community, we would have missed out on some of the greatest franchises we have ever played. I have always enjoyed my multiple playthroughs of the game and its sky-high production values, acting and simply one of the best and most emotional scores in years from the talent of Jason Graves that adds much to its emotive delivery. It also has the most bittersweet ending I have experienced, and the only thing sadder than the audience it missed and the opportunities it wasted is that it may have left us with never finding out just where Grayson was headed.
So I am to be sacrificed. How many more must die to ensure an eternal silence?
You are no longer one of its heralds. Finish what you have begun and vanish! Men were never meant to live this life.
There shall come a day when all our burdens will end, brother. Maybe then we shall know true peace.
Number 8. Dying Light. Not only have the team really worked hard on making sure this game is loved by the community, but they have delivered an impressively vast city to survive in. The fact that a huge DLC update just released shows the devotion from the team and its future as a franchise. The story was not anything new and the characters not particularly engaging, but the fluid control system, something that is very groundbreaking in both its delivery and integration, have captured the parkour excitement that previously only worked with Mirror's Edge and its upcoming reboot perfectly. Once learned and upgraded, you become the Jackie Chan of Zombieland, running, jumping, kicking your way to victory and fun. Visually, it was a real treat both in its dynamic lighting system, detailed indoor and outdoor settings. The only issue was from the frame pacing issues on console or PS4 could sometimes be frustrating, but from the recent views of the latest DLC, the engine performance has looked to be upgraded further still, as seen in the game's patches on console at least, as the team become more familiar with the APIs of both. LOD, texture filtering among other improvements after release, even if some areas still require attention. Those frame rates, guys, those frame rates. The game really improved and polished what they started with Dead Island, and after sinking many hours into the game, it has only ever been dead good fun. Number 7. Life is Strange. Which is not the only thing here that is, as the episodic content delivery is a shift that I'm sure many will try and may get much bigger over time within gaming's ecosystem. After their enjoyable and sadly overlooked and ignored game In Remember Me that I thoroughly enjoyed, which was also powered by the Unreal Engine, and delivered one of the strongest female leads in a game with real action gameplay within a time-altering nuclear story. And yet again, Don't Nod have created something different here with another strong female lead and the same time-controlling slant within its core hook. Its episodic delivery means that you become invested into what happens next, with no way for it to be spoiled by the internet forums, as it may not even been completed or decided yet, but in this case, the 5 episodes had been set from its start. But it is the questions and issues it tackles that makes it one of the most adult commendable games you will play. Some of the tactile mediocrity of it can grate at times, but the natural writing and delivery make you feel that big moments, and anyone who has played knows some that I am referring to. It is not only a forward-thinking game in its themes that pushes the medium forward, but also in its delivery, and so long as the price is right, I am confident we will see much more of this kind of community-driven episodic content. It does not always succeed, but what it achieves more times than not is a solid experience
We're going
throughout.
to get in hella more trouble for this than drugs.
Nobody would ever even miss your punk ass, would they?
Get that gun away from me, psycho! No!
Number 6, Halo 5. I'm a long-time Halo fan, right back to when it came, it saw and it evolved combat with no regard to the rules. But with Bungie jumping ship and following their own destiny, 343i had a high bar to reach, and with its first attempt it nailed the tech but lost some of the wonder and vastness that Halo gave. With their second release they created a premise that is not only intriguing, put the Chief out of the spotlight and under scrutiny, while breaking up the format with 2 separate stories that are bound to clash. See? I avoided another Destiny pun there. The knowing and learning as the game unfolded before was a great idea, and although it never quite hits the mark it aimed for, it does not stop the game feeling more like the Halo of old, with some huge battles, great visuals, and with its 60 FPS rate, both single player and even better multiplayer become more responsive and solid with its very impressive performance levels. And like all Halo games, the single player is like the flirtatious smile that draws you in, but the multiplayer is the eyes, personality and depth that makes you stay. I know, bad girlfriend or boyfriend analogy.
Dr. Halsey, Captain Lasky would like a word with you.
It took you long enough.
Number 5, Rise of the Tomb Raider. Much has been said about the exclusivity deal, keyboards were thumped, emojis tweeted and disgusted huffs aplenty, but in the end, none of this matters as the game was a huge improvement on its previous tale. The visual strides and art design are clear to see, and I have covered in detail on Xbox One, Xbox 360 and PC alike. But it is the gameplay and freedom the game delivers. Free from having to build the lore set in the earlier game, it has now allowed Lara to be the adrenaline junkie that we know she is. The game world is bigger, tombs more abundant in presence and design, and when discovered, it really captures the excitement from the older games, along with the presentation making them all feel as if they have not received human gaze for centuries. It wraps this all up in a decent tale of adventure, jeopardy, intrigue and dark secrets that all balance the fine line of corny but fun, so that you feel compelled to complete this journey Lara is on, and get wrapped up in doing just that. It also delivers some of the most breathtaking scenery of the year that you just love to gaze upon and return to solve more puzzles to progress, and the pacing really breaks up the bigger action set piece as well. The sooner this gets to a bigger audience the better. With its PC release now done, only single PS4 owners await the chance to enjoy, as it just does what the last game did, but much bigger, better and more engrossing than before. Number 4, Batman Arkham Knight. I am a fan of the Bat ever since I was a kid, but the movies never got as close to the atmosphere of the Dark Knight as I always wanted. Michael Keaton, Tim Burton got close, and Christian Bale and Christopher Nolan took the franchise to new heights. But I think Rocksteady came the closest to capturing the detective noir style and vigilante themes and dark tones of the comic in its trilogy of Wayne's Tales. But in Arkham Knight they raised this further while still keeping the tone, extreme characters, self-narration, boss battles, but adding new equipment, the biggest world they had yet created, and not a single loading screen or delay as you seamlessly went about your business of returning Gotham to the people, putting scum behind bars, solving crimes, and finding out just why the Arkham Knight hates you so much. The story was fun if not a shock, but the experience, choice, scope all delivered in one of the most impressive games of the generation, and easily a fitting conclusion to the Batman series, rocksteady style, loving every moment I played and the pace it was delivered at. Aside the lackluster PC release, you would have to be a joker to miss out on robbing some time to play this deadshot hit of a game. I know, the puns are such a bane to suffer, but they deserved it.
Marvelous. I'm rebooting the network now.
Forget Scarecrow. It's time to face your one true nemesis, Batman.
Oh dear. Is that who I think it is?
Enigma. Contact me when you're ready with the bridge.
Number 3. Metal Gear Solid 5. What can I say about Hideo's final Metal Gear and Konami game? With the appalling way his exile was handled for another time, the saving grace was that we got one last big boss game from him, complete with all these unique quirkiness, fetishes and chaotic storytelling. Many did not enjoy the game and became too wrapped up in the story and who, what, why, and lost sight of it being the most open, free, dynamic and player-filled choice game that Hideo and crew had ever made. It showed that he had grown up, was able to let choice be open to the player more, though not always. And this made for a game that allowed you to relive the spiral of the boss into his own demons, repercussions of his actions, but it nearly always felt like you could explore and flow the game at your own pace. But it still had the unmistakable presence of Hideo throughout its campaign, and even though not as grand or complete as we had all hoped, it still delivered one of the most grand, dynamic and captivating experiences of not only the year, but the generation, and could be the series' magnum opus. And for the record, no, Quiet has absolutely no reason to exist the way she does. Sorry, boss.
When the time comes, I'll pull the trigger.
Unless we stop him, he'll go down in history a conquering victor. We can't let that happen.
They've only got two options. Heaven or hell.
No. There's another.
Burn with the rest, then.
Boss, get out of there!
Number 2. The Witcher 3. Boy, did this game make an impact in both the PC and console space. CD Projekt Red not only made a huge impact in the AAA space to make everyone else take notice and even potentially influence them, but they delivered one of the best open world RPGs in modern times. The scale of what they decided to take on was huge, with both previous games being a PC only release and within a much smaller and confined linear mould. But in 2015, they decided to release Geralt's Range with the help of Roach, onto a vast dynamic world the likes of which stand up to the big boys. But on top of that, they went full AAA multi-platform on Xbox One and PS4, along with its root PC release. Yes, the game launched with some issues and needed to have patches across PC and console alike, with the console release being understandably behind the PC one. But aside some of the issues I have covered in vast detail, it did not distract from what is a superb and titanic achievement. This has been bolstered by some equally vast and impressive DLC content that adds even more to this. Visually, it was just outside my top 5 best looking games in 2015, but that makes no odds at all to a game that delivered such great views and action throughout its gargantuan story. The way it mixed side quests into the main thread and how they flowed throughout your journey, the quality and scope of these could and were confused with direct story narrative. Villagers react to your actions or inactions, conversations and paths changed based on these. Even Roach would feed or drink himself when given the chance. It is simply brimmed with such minor moments of detail along with its more majestic sequences that you can sink days and days into this game and still find new things each time. A very, very close runner-up.
I know not what happened there, save terror through and through. Hendrik screamed. Then he begged. By the end, he could do naught but moan.
But my ultimate number 1 is a game that returned me and many to the older, completely unforgiving and confusing games we grew up with from the 16-bit era and beyond, sometimes due to the Japanese text mine from imports. Dark Souls was a superb game that captured the fear, isolation and terror that awaited you around each and every corner. But Miyazaki-san has created a chef-d'oeuvre that manages to mix some of the finest art design, but with Victorian or Gothic muse you struggle to go wrong, into a sprawling town in Yarnum with which this theatre of death unfolds. But it is the lack of any player aids or even any effort to entertain your maladroit abilities from the curtain rise. The depth and personalisation that it offers within its 4 weapon sets that can have far-reaching effects on your playstyle and choices in the game. But the way the world opens up to you as you delve deeper, your effort is rewarded in ways that very few games can attest to. It delivers a game that is simple in design but a bitch in execution, and this is regularly your own. But as you learn, you kick yourself for not realising the simplicity within its combat sooner, and it has that dreaded one more try addiction that can see night drift into morning with thoughts of a 6-day phone call incoming. But no matter where you start by the final dungeon, you went in a boy, but came out a man, Hunter. And you will love and hate the journey in equal measure. Punishment never felt so good, with your clothes on at least. As always, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed this. If you did, then please hit the like and subscribe button, as it really helps me immensely. And please share the word about my videos and all my content, as that helps me even more. Please leave all your thoughts and feedback below. Did you like the list? Did you disagree with it immensely? What's your opinions? I like to hear what you guys and girls have to say. Follow me on Twitter, check out more information on my website and other videos on my channel. And you guys take care, and guess what? I'll see you very soon on the next one.